You are listening to Jambo Radio Scotland, online, on your smart speakers, and on listening to Jambo Radio Scotland, online. Radio Scotland, online, on your smart speakers, and on DAB digital radio in Edinburgh and Glasgow. You can download the Jambo. You are listening to Jambo Radio Scotland, online, on your smart.
You're listening to Jambo Radio. Yeah.
In Scotland. You're listening to Jambo Radio Scotland, online, on your smart speakers, and on DAB digital radio in Edinburgh and Glasgow. You can download the Jambo Radio app on Google Play and App Store. Now, it's time for our conversations with inspirational individuals in Scotland and beyond. This is a moment with Sade and Enoch.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Moments with Sade and Enoch. My name is Enoch and I've got my red...
Hello.
my red co-host, Sade.
What can I say? I feel like it's been ages. It's Sade.
Welcome back. And thanks for taking time to stop by. And take time out of your busy schedule to join us today, Sade.
It's too early to start.
And we've got Kyle. I think a long time friend. I think I've known you now for 2-3 years when you were at the height. Yeah, when you were at the height. So today we will be on the show. We'll be talking to our guest who has made a career with one of the most powerful skills you can ever master: public speaking. Our guest has gone from being unknown, underestimated, and unsure of where to begin to becoming an European champion in public speaking. He's walked the path from fear to confidence and is now helping people and organizations overcome that same fear. You can join us today. We are on 01415302787 and you can send us a WhatsApp. It's 0745-990-6822. We are also on Facebook, Jambo Radio Scotland, and we're on X, Jambo Radio 1. If that is not enough, we are on IG, Jambo Radio.Scotland. Listen, we're on everywhere, Kyle.
Yeah, I can see that.
And if you're old school, you can send us an email. It's info@jamboradio.co.uk. I think we need to get on TikTok. And which other one is out there?
Again? I think there's a new one. I can't remember the name now.
Yeah, we need to get on TikTok as well.
The Halfas on it already.
Is it Bebo? Or no, that's
Bebo.
old school, isn't it? Never mind.
You're showing your age.
Still got my account. I'm just saying.
No way.
No, I don't.
I thought they closed down. Bebo, yeah, that was the MySpace.
Yeah, I was the last one left. They took me out. I'm unhappy.
Like, you need to disable your account now. 30 days, 15 days, 20 days. Right, off you go.
Oh, I got violent.
And if you haven't downloaded the Jambo Radio app, you can do that on the Google Play Store and the App Store. Just look for Jambo Radio, download the app, and you can listen to episodes live. You can listen to episodes, previous episodes, and also we're on YouTube as well. If you look for Jambo Radio, you can watch previous episodes of our show and other shows across the Jambo Radio network. Lots of conversations, lots of
inspiration,
and also just fun, exciting conversations as well. So definitely jump in and listen to that when you're driving or working out or whatever it is you do. So Kyle, so I don't know if I've told you this before, but thank you for everything you do. Right? I speak a lot. In fact, as I said, I was in Glasgow earlier today, and then this is my second coming. And that was me speaking at Audit Scotland, and to a room full of 30 people, and then another 40 or so online. Wow. So it was
a hybrid presentation.
Yeah,
they're the most difficult in many ways.
Exactly. You know what? When I go into these places, and I'm not joking, and I'm not trying to be nice, I'm always thinking, which of Kyle's tip am I going to apply to this setup, right? So I mean, I've gotten more and more confident over the years as I speak, but some of that is attributable to your content that I've listened to, on LinkedIn, and then some of it I've actually clicked on the link to go to YouTube to watch the full content. So I am one of them.
You're that guy.
I am that guy. Yeah, I am that guy. I actually watched it to the end. So when you see 1% watched it to the end, that was me.
I love it. You're helping my analytics.
Yeah, and so thank you from me to you, and hopefully, from today's conversation, folks out there as well can will pick one or two things, and they'll connect with you, and they will pick up tips and hints, because you're very good at creating those videos where you're just sharing hints and tips on how to do this. When you're in this situation, this is how to deal with it, and all that. So all those easy situations and those quirky situations in public speaking. So thank you very much. That was off script.
My pleasure. It's fun for me to make them as well,
Okay.
Like, it's great to see how they help people.
Hey Kyle video.
I have a lot of fun with the Hey Kyle, so I mean, I don't even know how to describe them to people. But
Shade's probably thinking, who are they talking about? No, she's not LinkedIn, she's more Instagram, so she's thinking these guys are fanzing themselves.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
Should I explain it to her?
Do explain. I'd love to see someone explain.
So let me explain it. So this is Kyle, right? He's just on his phone.
Okay.
And then someone walks up to him with a camera and go, "Hey Kyle," and Kyle responds, "This is the face he does. This is the face." That's the face Kyle does. And then the person then asks, "How do you deal with this?"
So and they ask a question.
They
ask me a random question.
Yeah. And then Kyle chops it down in like 30 seconds, very bang, straight to the point, interesting, end of. So it's a nice 45 seconds, 1 minute video.
My favorite, well, they are on YouTube actually. They are there, or shorts. But my favorite one, we were in Jamaica back in August, and I said to my partner, right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go under the sea, like underwater, right? And then you're just gonna be like panning around and say, "Hey Kyle," and then you just pop out like a dolphin.
Did you do that?
I did do that. Yeah. It wasn't like a dolphin. It was more like a hippo. You know what they did, the ear thing. But
did you get what's up coming?
Yes, sprouting out. It was good fun.
I said we we're going to manage time, but I think we've done 10 minutes already, and we've not even gotten into the conversation. So, have you ever felt your heart race, your palm sweat, or your mind go completely blank? I have a few times, and you probably have as well.
Yeah.
Don't lie. You have. Even Eminem had, palms are sweaty, right?
Anyway, okay.
Music, cars are
He's had it.
I'm showing my age again. I need to pretend to be 22 and older, right?
Well, we've already talked about Bebo, so it's not going to get much worse.
Well, if you felt any of this, you're not alone. On today's show, we will have an interesting conversation with our guest, Kyle, and we'll be discussing everything from overcoming doubts, finding your voice, building credibility, and the mindset that takes you from, can I really do this, to I was born to do this. So stay with us, because by the end of today's conversation, you might just see public speaking and yourself in a whole new light. So let's welcome public speaking author, coach, and champion Kyle Murtagh to today's show.
Thank you very much for having me. I've already had fun.
You're very much welcome, Kyle. So normally we just kick off by saying, in 30 seconds, can you tell us who Kyle is without talking about work?
Oh.
So I guess for you, without talking about public speaking.
Yes.
Yeah. Who Kyle is?
Good luck with that.
Gosh, yeah. You know something? I think Kyle is someone who could be described as confident.
Okay.
Definitely calculated.
Calculated, okay, of course.
And I'm thinking of another word with C. Carnivorous is not the right one. I would say I'm going to use a different word, fun as well, because I don't take myself too seriously. I think, and this is something which I'm not going to say the word, but I do bring into what I do a little bit. I'm trying to make it fun, whether it be through the videos, through the training, because if you're not having fun doing it, if the audience aren't having fun listening to you, they can tell, and it's just obviously not going to resonate as well, because often the fun, that's what brings down the barriers, and then you can get that key message across a lot more. So Kyle is lots of different things. Kyle can't even describe
30
Kyle.
seconds. 30 seconds. We need to get that timekeeper guy in. Like, you need to pay £50 now. That is way over 30 seconds.
Thanks, Kyle. Thank you.
30 seconds. And You mentioned something there around fun, because sometimes having these conversations, listening to some people tell you about public speaking can be dry. And again, at the I Am Black conference, I think it was this year or last year, I can't remember, probably this year, one of the feedbacks coming through from the attendees of your session was that was their best session. And I found that insulting, because I'm like, come on guys, I did the opening session and the closing session, but they went for yours as their best session, because I think you got people to participate, you got the younger folks to come up to speak.
It was interactive.
So it was interactive, so people really enjoyed it. So people left thinking, oh yeah, okay, maybe public speaking isn't as scary as I thought, just because you made it relatable to them. So well done.
Thank you.
I'm always excited, I'm always fascinated by names. So your name, Kyle Murtagh. How do you pronounce it?
Murtagh. Yeah.
Murtagh. The G is silent.
There's a lot going on with it. Yeah.
Murtagh. Okay. Does it have a meaning? Where's that name from?
Well, you know something. My parents went over to Ireland about a year ago. Okay. And they went to this place, I think it was called Donegal. And they found some form of plaque talking about the word murder. And apparently it was some form of clang that repelled the Vikings back in the day. So that's all I know about it. I also know this, that it causes me a hell of a lot of bother, because no one knows how to pronounce the name.
I know.
This is what happened to me one time, and I was speaking online in an American sort of environment, American event, and the woman introduced me as, please welcome Kyle Mustache.
It could be worse. I thought you were going with Monster there.
So that kind of puts you on the back foot before you speak, you know? She also said I studied at the University of Strathcycle. You know what? I'm Glasgow. She hit the trifecta.
No. You know what, Kyle? If I was in the audience, I would think you set that up, because that's probably definitely listening to all the tips you've given. That's definitely a good way to start the conversation. Because you've got people going, okay, this is interesting. These are interesting guys. It's got some freaking weird names. So, and then you can kiss them.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great story. It's a great story. And I actually want to circle back to something you said about the conference, the I Am Black conference. One of the key things I've learned over time is that public speaking isn't about what you say. It's actually about getting other people to speak. Because when you do that, it begins to become their presentation instead of your presentation. And that's when magic things happen, like having fun or insights or aha moments or whatever it may be. But I've found that so important to find a way to give the audience a voice. So that's something which I always try and do. I always try and make it interactive. I think that's when the best moments occur.
Oh, lovely.
Fantastic.
That's good. So let's start from the beginning. When was the first time you knew this was something you were interested in? And I mean public speaking.
The first time I thought, well, you know, there's many different points you could go back to. I think when the seeds were really put in the ground was when I was about maybe 15 years old. And I was struggling a lot with my own self-esteem and confidence. I was a very, very shy individual.
And this was in Glasgow?
No, Aberdeen actually.
Aberdeen. So you're from Aberdeen?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Silver City. Or the Granite City, or Grey City.
We are going there.
We're going there tomorrow.
Well, you're going to see the grey or the silver.
So listen, it's the current immigration policy, 1 in, 1 out. So they've thrown you out. We are going in. What is 1 in?
That's it.
No, it's 1 out, 2 in.
That's what they're looking for. They probably pay you to go up there, actually. But anyway, I had really so low self-esteem, to be honest, and I wanted to change. I wanted to feel different about myself. And one of the first things I did was I went online, probably.
So I'm going to slow you down there. So you were 15, and you were thinking that way. That's not how 15-year-olds think. About like wanting to change themselves and all that. So what made you like that? What drove that kind of thinking in you as a 15-year-old boy?
Naturally, the intuition is not there for a 15-year-old to start like that.
I think just pain. You know, just the pain of being too shy to even speak up in a group of 2 people.
I think I know. You couldn't speak to that girl.
Well, obviously there's girls involved, but there's always a girl.
She's listening.
But it was honestly just not having because I played in a football team, for example. And I was really into my football. I had dreams of being a professional player. And my teammates, they were always chatting, they were having banter and all these things. I just could never get involved. And
those small talks.
I couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
I was just afraid because you know what teenage boys are like.
Yeah.
If you say anything out of place, what did he say? There was people in my school. They came like one day, maybe they came in, they didn't wash their hair, and then for then on it was Thingy needs a wash. Thingy needs a wash, right, for the next 6 years. So
that would build resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. But yeah, so all of these reasons, I guess, made me just want to figure out how to communicate. And one of the first things I did is I went online and started watching motivational speakers. And one person who really resonated with me, and who I believe is still probably technically the best public speaker of all time.
Let's do a test to see if I've been watching your videos. Obama.
No. Watch more, Kate.
I need to watch more, right? Okay, let's go.
That was quiet. That was deep. That was hard. Anyway,
have you heard of a guy called Les Brown?
No.
Oh, you need to check out Les Brown. Les Brown is a force, or was a force of nature. This guy, there's a video of him speaking, I think in Atlanta, and he's in a stadium, 20,000 people in front of him, and he's telling a story, and he's got every single one of them in the palm of his hand. It is astonishing, the power in this man's voice. An amazing speaker. And his words, he told one story actually about, I think in school he was labelled as being disabled, but it was a much worse word than disabled that they called him. And the kids were making fun of him, but one of his teachers came up to him and said, come and write this thing on the board. And he said, I can't do that, sir, because I'm disabled. And then he said to him, never let someone's opinion of you determine what you can do or determine your reality. And that really resonated with me because everybody just saw me as the shy sort of pushover that you could say anything to and get away with. And I didn't want that to be my self-image for the rest of my life. And therefore I started to look into self-development, looking into change, learning about confidence. So I think that's where it really began for me, if it was to go all the way back.
Wow, interesting.
And the quotes you mentioned there, I've used a similar quote over the course of Black History Month because I've been doing a lot of speaking for Black History Month. And there's a lady, she was the first black woman to go into space, Dr. Mae Jemison. Cool. And the quote attributed to her was, never be limited by other people's limited imagination, right? Which is what happens most of the time. Someone says you can't or you shouldn't, and you go, oh, okay. Because they are in a position of authority, you think they're smarter than you, so they're like, oh, if he says that, he probably knows what he's saying.
100%.
Type of thing.
100%.
So
mostly untrue.
Yeah, and I think what I'm saying is we need to own our own narrative.
Yes.
As you did, you're like, nah, man, I'm going to go crush this.
That's it. Because people will give you a narrative.
Yeah.
They're going to put you in a box.
Yeah.
They're going to decide what they think you are.
Yeah.
But you have to prove them wrong. Or you have to, in many cases, a lot of people just prove them right? Because they stick to that narrative. And it doesn't necessarily lead to a good, happy path for them. So I feel you've got to decide who you are. That's really important.
And early on in your journey, I mean, you've built a reputation for yourself. Now you've got some respect in your field. But I'm sure earlier on, folks probably didn't take you as seriously as we do now. Sort of I've been singing your praises for the last 30 minutes, but I'm sure back then people were just like, who is this guy? So how did you deal with that, and how did you sort of overcome all that in the earlier days?
I can tell you a quick story. One of the first networking events I went to here in Glasgow. I went into a room and I said, hey, I'm Kyle, I do public speaking, I help people with their confidence. And this older guy, maybe about 50 years old, said to me, aren't you a bit young to be doing that? What do you know? So I said to him, well, what do you do, sir? And he said, I'm in IT. And I said, are you not a bit old to be doing that? So that was my attitude. I kind of went there, right? You can't just let them say that sort of stuff to you. You've got to go back.
No, don't finish that story. So what happened after that?
How did that go?
Did you get a punch?
Well, he laughed and then we never saw each other again.
I think
we didn't work together. Put it up. There was no business exchange there. But the point is, is you got to stand up for yourself because people are going to say stuff like that.
Again, that whole thing around limited imagination.
Limited imagination. And then I think the good thing for me with what I do, it's not a case of I have to show you a product or I have to create something for you. I can just speak for 60 seconds in a 60-second pitch. And I tend to get more respect because I'm doing public speaking. I'm doing what I'm good at. And by the way, the bar is so unbelievably low that just being a little bit better than the rest makes you stand out and gain respect. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Lovely. I think that was what I was going to think of. That was what I was going to ask. I think you've talked about, people feeling doubts in themselves and people not feeling, just strong about themselves.
Yeah.
So, what would you say helped you when you started out doing public speaking? I know you said you watched some videos when you were 15. So was that the only thing that actually helped you,
Well, I didn't go near public speaking until I was about 20. So there was,
okay.
Yeah, but what I did do to begin with, maybe it's better to start there and then work towards public speaking.
Okay.
I started learning more about how confident people operate. So I started learning how they walk, for instance. I started learning how they hold themselves. I started learning how they use their hands, the tone that they use to speak. And then basically what I did is I started copying that. And I know the quote or the idea fake it till you make it is getting a lot of flack now and is not very popular, but there's something to it. Because if you keep doing those behaviors, eventually your brain...
becomes part of you.
Yeah, it becomes part of you. That's a good way to put it, actually. And your brain begins to catch up, and people begin to respect you more because you're holding yourself different. And then that gives you confidence, their reaction, and then it sort of builds and snowballs. So eventually, to the point I was 20, I would say most people in my peer group would call me confident. I was definitely less confident than I am now, but they would call me that. So I had the courage to do public speaking. And of course, my first time went terribly wrong. I got up, said 2 words, and sat back down. And I thought, okay, here we go, Kyle. Back to ground zero here, back to square one. But I knew the path. And the path to getting good at anything, I think, is quite simple. You have to learn the art of it, whatever that may be. So in public speaking, that's learning about your body language, your voice, how to structure, how to tell stories. Second, you've got to practice whatever that skill is, again and again and again until it's in your bones. And then third, you've got to reach out to some form of mentor who can guide you and help you and help you improve and push you on the right path.
Okay.
And those are the 3 things I would say anyone can do, whether it be getting more confident or getting better at public speaking or maybe even better than fashion. You can speak to that. I don't know.
But when it comes to the crowd, just a quick one that came to my head. Is there any ways over time you've just, learned the act of dealing with different people? Because sometimes I see you as, of course, you're not a comedian, but at the end of the day, when with comedy, with public speaking, comes with getting, just linking up with your crowd. You need to know your crowd to an extent, right?
Yes.
So is that part of the training as well in terms of when you're in a room like this is how you... Is there a code or is it just a general blanket as to being confident over time, learning the skills, and then you can just be anywhere. You can speak to 20,000 people. Is there any difference between that to speaking to like 30 people, for example, in terms of you preparing as a public speaker?
I would say 100%. There's a big difference between 20,000 and 30. I imagine my legs would even be shaking with 20,000, right? Because there's just more pressure to it.
Okay.
In terms of the preparation, you've got to, as you said, make sure you know your audience to the best you can. And a good question to ask yourself is, what do the audience care about? And whatever they care about, I'm going to say that early on in the presentation.
All right, okay.
Because now I'm talking their language, now I'm talking about things that's going to get their interest.
Them.
And the hook is so important. Because if I lose you in that first 20 seconds, I'm going to be fighting to get you back. So really starting with their interests, the things that are going to get them going is a brilliant way to go about it and continue on.
So I think it was, I don't know if you know Laura Westring.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so she had a session with us, I can't remember why or when, maybe 2022, with the BPU leadership team. She was trying to just sort of, maybe before I met you, I knew you then, I can't remember, just give us a bit of coaching around speaking and getting ready to speak. Speech writing as well, so because it's sort of intertwined in a way. And one thing she said that I remember, which ties to what you and Sade are discussing, is know your audience. So now, before I go into so for example, the people I was speaking to today, I was like, right, they said, 20 or 30 people have registered to be there in person. I'm like, can you give me a broad idea who these people are? And they said, oh yeah, some of them are accountants, some of them are this. So I'm like, okay, so now I know I'm going to speak to accountants. So I know the things to sort of drop in there, as you said. So you need to know your audience, because if you just go in blindly, it can be tougher, and then you don't know what they want because you don't know your audience.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And
I was going to ask him about the challenges he faced earlier as well.
Yeah.
Before we get again very deep in it.
Yep.
So what were the challenges you would tell our listeners that you faced when you started doing public speaking?
Okay.
How did you manage to get through that at that point in time?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, and not a lot of people talk about this, is actually adopting the skills. So anyone who's good at public speaking is going to tell you that you should use gestures quite a lot to engage the room. They're going to tell you that you should speak at a steady pace, because if you speak too fast, you seem really nervous and all over the place. The challenge is there's a learning period where you've got to adopt that skill. And during that learning period, people, when you're speaking in public, will begin to call you unauthentic. Because it's a bit clunky, it's not natural. Maybe an analogy would help here. Let's take, what sport do you like, Enoch? What sport do you like?
playing or watching?
Playing. Football.
Yes.
Right. So if we take a technique, for instance, in football, like a free kick, and we ask someone who's not experienced in football to take a free kick, it's going to look awful to begin with. But the more they practice it, the more they refine it, the more effort they put into it, it's going to get better and better slowly over time. And that's what happens in public speaking. Just audiences are very quick to judge people. They'll say, oh, Enoch's trying to use bigger gestures, but it seems inauthentic because it's not quite him.
That's
but
not him, yeah.
Enoch's actually on the journey to adopting that into his
To
skill
becoming
set.
that person.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was learning all these new skills and I was trying them out, but people were calling me inauthentic. They were saying, "No, it doesn't seem like you, Kyle. There's something off." And it was because I was on that journey, and I didn't even know myself what was going on. I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, "Kyle, what's going on? Who are you? Are you inauthentic?" I was having a crisis about it, and it only took me looking back in reflection. No, I was on a journey to adopting these skills, and it takes time.
Yep. Interesting. And so, moving away from public speaking, at the age of 15, you realized you had this realization. Did you not then go to college, university, the old traditional routes, or did you just think, I want to be a public speaker at the age of 15?
That's right. I did go to university. So I'm dyslexic. So one of the big things for me was school was a massive struggle, just getting the grades. So it kind of became my big goal to go to university, if you like. I was even held back a year in English, sort of thing. And so I had to work really, really hard to get to university. So I did a psychology degree because I thought that would help me learn more about myself. And by the end, I was even more confused than before. I was back and looking at that mirror, Doc. I was like, what's going on here?
Who are you?
A lot of time in the bathroom, yeah. But the point is, during that time, I looked online, I think it was, and I found a place where you could go public speaking, because I thought no matter what I do, it might be good to get good at presentations. They're going to be that's going to be a helpful skill.
Yes.
And that's when I went along to a club and the journey began.
Okay.
The club, is
If you
that
like.
What's the club called? Just
There's an organization called Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, that was one.
I went to a slightly different place, but it's more or less
Similar.
the same thing.
Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, these are places you can go along, practice public speaking with other people who are learning. And they're all over the world, actually. Yeah. It's a really nice, safe place to practice.
Maybe you should try
That's
that.
interesting.
Maybe you should try that,
Why
Sade.
should I try that?
So moving on.
I'm gonna leave that.
He does that to me every time on the show. Like, I know you speak to more people than I do, but I tend, like you said, I use it at work
So
as well.
Kyle,
See, it's been big now.
how did you begin to market yourself to get more noticed in public speaking? So you finished university, you've been doing the Toastmasters, the club attendance. So how did you then go from, right, this is the time to monetize this? How did you go on that journey, that transition?
Yeah. So after about a year of doing public speaking, I got pretty good pretty fast because I just went all in. Like every single day I was learning something new and practicing. And people started asking me to come and speak at this university or this workplace. So before I even graduated, I had these things called clients. And that was really exciting. And so there was almost like two paths ahead of me. I thought I could try and be a psychologist and maybe go down that path, get a job, or I could start my own business and try public speaking. Kind of like the Neo in the Matrix thing, red pill or blue pill. I took that blue pill, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I should say, though, when I first got started, it all went like that. No one wanted anything to do with me because I had no credibility. As we spoke about before, I was really young, so it was incredibly hard getting going at all. After 1 year.
The first break? Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
The first break, like, how did you break in?
How did I break in? You know what? I think it was actually about a year into it. I had basically no clients, no money coming in, no nothing, and we actually somehow went on holiday to Turkey, which drained my bank account completely. So when we returned, I remember sitting at the kitchen table, and I had like no leads, I had no opportunities, and I just started crying. I just started crying because I'm like, I'm gonna have to quit this thing. I love public speaking, but no one cares about me or it. I'm just gonna have to let this go. And then Emma, my partner, came into the room, the living room, and said, well, why are you crying? I told her, and she said, okay, well, if you quit this, what will you do instead? And I sort of sat with that question for a long time, and I couldn't really find an answer. I didn't know what else.
Is it so what?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I couldn't find an answer, something that would fulfill me. So I made a decision after a few days that no matter how bad this gets, no matter if I make no money for the rest of my life, I'm going to keep on doing this. And when I made that decision, when I decided that failure is no longer an option, that's when things improved for me. It was almost like, this is what he's doing. The big man up there just said, okay, we might as well give him something.
Yep.
And that's when it really began to pick up and improve slowly over time.
It's interesting you said that. So I was on some leadership training down in London a few months ago, and as part of that, we're given the opportunity to go to different places, right? Different organizations to learn about their own leadership style and communication and all that. So I didn't go to these establishments, but some of my colleagues that went to Scotland Yard or one of those London police squad, and these same are the ones that plan royal visits, presidential visits, and all that. And they said their motto is, we cannot fail. And I thought that was powerful, because if you know you cannot fail, it changes how you think. Just as you said, you're like, you cannot fail, right? So because if you still have a backup plan or plan B or plan C, you try, you think you're doing your best, but that's not really your best. It's like when I'm doing training with my son Costa, I tell him, when you think you're running your fastest, there's still something extra in you that you've not pushed or that you've not tapped into, and you need something, maybe someone going past you, for you to find that extra beast to say, let's go, right? Extra push. So I think it's really powerful when we have that mindset of we cannot fail.
Right. 100%.
And just go, because I guess that was part of what got you to where you are.
Yeah, today. Literally a month later, I made more money than I had in the first year.
Wow.
Yeah. Which wasn't a lot, by the way. But it began to build and build and build.
Any bank alert or anything? You didn't say anything to me. Like, I don't know why you're not bragging, but you didn't share that.
That's good to know, and very motivating as well. Especially, it doesn't even have to be in public speaking now. Even some of our listeners doing other things in their lives that they can resonate to this, they can relate to this. That even though there's nothing happening now, let me just go on like I have no other option, and then the only option is to keep going, and then that's gonna work. And thanks for that.
No problem at all. This is why it's so important to do things you enjoy.
Yes.
Because if I didn't enjoy it, I couldn't keep doing it. It would have been an
easy one to drop. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm gonna take it in another direction. Okay. Not entirely another direction, but just to think about the young professionals out there, listening to us today, and when it comes to what you do, sometimes they struggle with their pricing structure, and to be honest, sometimes at some point in our lives we all do, in terms of how do you price your services. So sometimes you don't know if they're overpricing their services or undercharging themselves. So from your own experience, what would you say to that? How do you go about it from your own experience, and what would you advise?
It's a very good question, something I've definitely struggled with. I think it's a case of, again, this is where the kind of mentorship comes in. Speak to people who have done it before, and get an idea of what their price is and what they think you should be pricing yourself as. I think the idea is always to ask for more than you think you should.
Really?
Yeah. Ask for more than you think you should.
So is that going in there? Is it on the side of being overpricing yourself, or just somewhere in the middle?
You have to remember, most people undervalue themselves massively.
Naturally,
so they put their price down here when really it should be up here anyway.
Right,
so by doing...
you're bringing yourself to where you should be.
Where you should be.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You're sort of leveling it out,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So that's something which always resonated with me, and I tried to apply. And if maybe 5 people say yes to your price, try and put it up, right? Keep moving that bad boy up until you hit a ceiling of some kind, right?
And if they say no, there's still a bit of room to negotiate, and they can maybe come slightly lower at least.
And definitely have...
No undercharging.
Good point. And definitely have different options. You want to have that comparison piece. You know, this option here is 3K, but this option here is 5K. And then the 5K makes the 3K or the 2K look a lot better, right? And that kind of thing. So there's lots of books on this. I think there's The Psychology of Money. That's a good one. The pricing... What's the word? I can't remember the name of the book, but if you look up pricing on Amazon, you're going to see a lot of good books, alongside your guys' book, of course.
Good comeback.
You always got to link in.
And I was thinking as well, is there a world where you can combine psychology with your public speaking?
Oh, they're both.
Have you ever considered?
100%.
Is that already being done?
Well, it's part. The whole reason there is a fear is because of the psychology of humanity, right?
Okay.
And I believe this has taken me a long time to figure out. A long time. But I think the biggest reason people fear public speaking is because of their self-image.
Okay.
Like, for instance, if we talk to your son, was it Costa?
Yep.
Your son? Yep. We talk to Costa, I imagine he would probably call himself a sprinter or a runner, right?
Yep.
And if we look at that, what that means is every week he's most likely practicing his sprinting, okay? And then because he's practicing and working hard on it, he's getting good results. He's winning some races from what I can see from the videos and so forth. He's having success. He's getting faster. And all of that success leads into the idea that I am a sprinter. And therefore he feels more confident the next time he goes on the track. The issue is very few people say, I am a speaker.
Okay.
And because they don't see themselves as a speaker, they don't do the practice, the preparation, the work. And because they don't do the work, they don't get the results of a presentation going well. In fact, it goes the opposite way. It goes terribly wrong. They freeze when they're up there. They have a panic attack. And all of those bad results reinforce the idea that I am not a speaker. And then that's when things get really bad. And they go through this cycle of doom, I call it, where their self-image, they're constantly reinforcing the idea that I can't do this. And then the fear grows and grows and grows. Yes.
Oh,
Fantastic. Right. So we're going to take a break now. If you're watching and you want to join us in the studio, it's 0141-530-2787. We're on WhatsApp, 0745-990-6822. We're on Facebook, it's Jambo Radio Scotland, and Jambo Radio 1 on X. And it's jamboradio.scotland on Instagram, and you can reach us via email. It's info@jamboradio.co.uk. So moving on from all that, so you eventually started out as a speaker, and you've been doing that for how many years now?
7 years.
7 years. And when did you eventually move down to Glasgow? Was that for uni?
That was for university.
Okay.
So about 11 years ago now, 2014.
Okay. So let's sideways slightly to you being an author.
Okay.
Yep. So give us the story. How did that come to be? How did the idea come? And then, because you've written the book a while back now, right? It's a few years ago.
2020 I released it.
Yeah. Okay. When you had nothing to do. Might as well write a book, right?
It didn't work out like that.
I'm just kidding. Right, tell us the true story.
Okay, so I was doing this workshop called The 5 Pillars of Effective Public Speaking.
In 2020 or before 2020?
Before it. 2018, 2019. This was like my first workshop.
Okay.
The 5 Pillars of Effective Public Speaking. And I thought to myself, maybe I could turn that into a book of some kind, because everybody in the industry had also said to me, that's going to help you gain that credibility. And as we know, I was looking for some of that, right? I needed some of that. So I started putting it together in 2019, Enoch, not 2020. I had stuff to do. Fact check. And eventually we got it published in 2020. But it was a great deal for me because, as I said to you before, I'm dyslexic. Reading, writing, spelling, these things are not easy for me. So I never would have seen myself as an author. So that was a really big psychological leap for me. And at first you think, okay, the book's not sold thousands and thousands and thousands of copies. But as I look back in it in the last 5 years, it has led to a heck of a lot of different opportunities. It's got me into a lot of different organizations. It's got me on a lot of different planes, going to different places. It's helped me meet a lot of cool people as well, brought me new clients. So it's been amazing for me, the book. And I think it's because I've tried to put as much value as possible in those pages. From 2020, that's everything I knew about public speaking is in those pages.
Wow.
So I didn't hold back at all in any way.
Put everything there.
Yeah.
And you'd be pleased to know that my son has a copy of that book. I got a book for him.
Oh, did he?
Because he
doesn't read it while he's running, does he? That'd be impressive.
That boy can multitask. Not just run, when he's printing at his fastest.
That gives him that extra.
You need to find that extra beast, as I say.
Pillar 3.
but yeah, because I'm just thinking you need to develop a child all around, right? So communication is one of it, and again, because of his sprinting, he's getting to do some speaking here and there, little things. So for example, he got the award. He got an award from his club on Saturday, and straight away when he got home, he was confident enough to say, "Dad, Mom, I don't know who he was asking. Can I take this to school and present it in school and tell them the story behind this?" So he had that confidence to do that, and again, that's part of the encouragement we are putting in him, and then also some of the tips he has read from your book as well. So definitely the book is and that's the beauty of when we put things out there. We have no idea where it's going, and we have no idea the people it impacts.
I know, I could never have foreseen that.
Like a 10-year-old is actually benefiting from the book he wrote.
I love that.
5 years ago.
And let me tell you something else. You guys are helping him so much. I was at your own book launch. And him seeing Dad and Mum on the stage public speaking, that's not something I ever saw my parents doing, and I imagine most kids don't see that. So just seeing that shows him that he can do that.
It's interesting you said that, right? So maybe, I would say we had, even from the beginning, we never had issues with public speaking.
No.
So maybe
you're from Nigeria. That's why, right?
Yeah, it's just we're born confident. So maybe part of it is because my dad is a pastor, so I've always seen him on stage. Your parents have always been on the stage as well as pastors. Right. So maybe there's that subconscious of this is normal to get on stage and speak. So I've never done that connection until you said that.
Well, there could be something to that. Right? I imagine there's probably a lot of pastors going down to their sons who also begin to do that, or their daughters. So I do think it's important. If you're a parent, try and you're speaking, try and invite your kids along to your events, because that could leave a really big impression on them going forward for their own future.
Interesting. So you mentioned credibility when you were talking earlier. So I believe credibility is a big part of your journey, to be here, to get here. So in terms of that, what would you say, how have you built credibility in the industry, especially where everyone wants to be seen as an expert in what they do? So how have you navigated that?
One of the big things is competitions. So that organization we talked about, Toastmasters, they hold different competitions, and where some of them literally thousands of people enter. The most popular, 30,000 people enter it. And
30,000?
30,000 across the world enter for the World Championship of Public Speaking. And so I've participated in those competitions, and I've had a lot of success. I've won 5 UK and Ireland titles out of those 30,000 people. I've made it to the top 28 before. So
in the
world. So those types of things have helped me build credibility. And then also what we talked about with the book, for instance, and the videos. You literally see me do public speaking. Doing this right now, you hear and see me. It shows that I can do it. It shows I'm capable, and that gives people confidence at the same time.
And would you say you are where you want to be now? Because you've been through it all.
What next?
I can call you an expert now, so...
Absolutely not. No. I thought I'd be a millionaire after year one of the business. Instead I was at my dining table after Turkey crying. No. My goal is to be the world champion.
Okay.
And I've been working on that for the last 7 years.
Okay, so that's still alive.
It's still alive.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like the business, right? It's either going to happen or I'm going to die. It's that simple. Yep. So eventually they're going to let me have it at some point, surely. By the odds, right?
Who's that guy that's applying every year? Just give it to him, man. He's got 1 more year to live. Kyle is the winner.
What a way to go out. So there's that. And then also from a business perspective, I want to be at the place where I'm speaking on the big stages like Les Brown was in that video, and I'm not there right now. So I've got work to do to get there. I think it's a good thing not to necessarily be fully satisfied with where you are.
Stay hungry.
Exactly. Stay hungry.
Exactly.
I think it's a good thing. I know we have to be grateful for what we have, and I certainly am, but I think it's also important to strive for more. Yeah.
You've got a bit of spiritual. Is it undertone or overtone in some of what you said? Are you spiritual? Are you affiliated with any religion?
Because he did mention someone God from above.
Yeah,
I did mention that. I'm not religious, but I definitely would say spiritual. I believe there's things moving that create things, and most things happen for a reason, or everything happens for a reason. I've got an element of that to me, for sure.
Interesting. So we are coming towards the end of the show now, so we're just going to go into some sessions. So the first one is you've got an opportunity to ask myself or Sade, or myself and Sade any questions. So now we are your guests.
All right, okay. So switch it up here.
You've only got one question.
Okay. So when you go on to a stage, or before you're about to speak, what's going through your minds for both of you? What's the thought?
I can go first.
Yep.
So for me, I think I've heard it somewhere, or perhaps maybe from you even, because I saw a few of your videos, is to be a problem solver. I think you've mentioned it already. So I try to be prepared, first of all, but sometimes your preparation doesn't align with what you're going to get when you're there presenting. So I try to let them feed me in terms of what exactly do they want to listen to. It's more for them, not me. What's the problem they have, and then through that I can know how to present to them. And that way the pressure is not on me. It's more like they are doing the most of the they are doing most of the job anyway, so I'm more relaxed, and it's just easier for me, and that's what I do even at work. That's what I do.
That's a really nice way to articulate it, actually, because that is part of being a good public speaker, not thinking about yourself but thinking about the audience. And you're right, when you do that, it takes the attention and the pressure off, because what a lot of people do is they think about themselves and then they concentrate on what their stomach's feeling, or they've got sweaty palms and all of these things, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So I love that.
They are the ones presenting. They don't just know it yet, is what I think, like, because you are the one doing most of the talking. You just don't know it yet. So that's
love that mindset. Fantastic. Love that mindset.
Just for me, because when I'm going in at that point where I'm going to present, I know I'm ready, right? But then at the same time, I'm thinking, I don't know how this is gonna go. So I go in with that mindset of, I know everything will be fine. I know it's not a great answer. That's not the answer you want, but I am confident in the fact that I've got enough knowledge in there that when it's showtime, I'll deliver, right? So, and that's how I feel just before speaking. I'm in that place of, you've done this so many times. You've got enough knowledge that any question that comes or anything that happens, you can deal with it. So, showtime.
Showtime, right. I love that. And you've got to have that mindset. You've got to believe you are a person who will rise to the occasion, right? So I love that both of those are positive mindsets that you're going in with, and that's the most important thing. What are you thinking right before you go and speak? Because that's going to affect your opening, and then from your opening, that's going to affect your entire presentation.
Fantastic. And another tradition we have is our previous speaker leaves an advice for our next speaker without necessarily knowing who they are, just a life advice. So the last speaker, the advice they left for, I guess, you is just keep going.
Well, it kind of fits in, doesn't it?
So it's perfect for what you're doing and where you're going on your journey, which is just stay hungry, right? So what advice do you have for our next speaker?
Don't let the external affect your internal.
Okay.
Okay.
How about that?
Don't let
Yeah.
the external
Do I need to
affect
expand
internal.
or should
No. I
just
think
leave it? Or,
it's
leave it in
I
mystery.
think it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And we can dive into it when they eventually get
Next time we're on the show.
on the seat. Yeah, and I think that's
I think that's it.
everything from us.
Thanks so much, Kyle. It was so lovely having you on.
Thank you. I loved it. You're
you.
right. It does go fast.
It does go fast. 1 hour is gone, and thank you very much for joining us on the show. It's been exciting. I've enjoyed chatting to Kyle. You know, the energy Kyle brings and just the passion he has to share about public speaking, which all of us will probably do at some point in our lives. So it's around, are you ready for it or are you not? And as Kyle said, all of us are public speakers as long as we accept that. Thank you. It's been myself and Sade and Kyle on the show,
coming, Kyle.
on the show today, and see you later.
next time.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
5 boys. That's a big job. 5 hours ago from Cameraro. One ball of Sunday. Go me there. One ball of Sunday. Go me there, go me out.